Oh, okay. Now I'm live. All right. Let's see. There we go. Now I'm live. All right. We'll see if anybody comes on. I gotta go live at some point. So there's no time like the present. 2 eggs, running how I like them, and 2 jars of my This is the beef brisket, the first one I made. The beef brisket with the beef shoulder roast. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'm really I've been looking for a long time before I became carnivore. Was looking for food preservation. So this is something that has been on my path because I don't have refrigeration. Like I have this little bitty fridge over here that I currently have my butter in, but it's not sufficient refrigeration to store food. And I don't want a refrigerator. I don't want to get a big fridge. hmm I like I like living simple, and I like having things that won't get broken. If I don't have a fridge, well, hey, welcome. I got somebody. I like having minimizing the chance for things to get broken and for my life and my livelihood to be affected. So I just wanted to do a little Q&A. I get questions in my comments, and I figured I got to go live at some point. So if anyone's available, maybe they'll hop on. I've had questions asking about my carnivore eating, which I'm a carnivore now. I've always been a meat eater, but I wasn't full on carnivore like I am now. So I get questions about being a mobile dweller, whatever. So, whatever, if anybody's got a question, I'm here to answer while I eat my first meal of the day. So, first, I will address the carnivore thing. So, for me, I only eat meat products. This is small. Your food always looks so good, and it always is. I'm a really excellent cook. I am a excellent cook. So when I do my canning, which I've been doing, I season it the same way. So I put all my seasons in the bottom. I just made a couple of videos, a reel and then a video. Check it out if you haven't. Um, but I like my food very well seasoned, and I'm from a family of scratch cookers. My mom cooked from scratch. She can bake her face off. She would just growing up, my mom used to bake bread from scratch. She would bake all of our birthday cakes from scratch. She cooked everything from scratch. Even my drunk alcoholic uncles can cook, okay? They're all dead but one now, but I come from a family of scratch cookers, so thankfully it rubbed off on me. I watched you canning meat. Mm-hmm. And I'm eating some of it now, along with a couple eggs. It's so simple. I do the cold pack method, which is just cold jars, raw meat, put it into the pot, cold water, and let everything heat up together. There's also a hot pack method where you start off with hot jars and then you put your meat in there and you pour hot water in the jars and then you seal them and you put them in hot water. So I don't do that because I don't want to pour water in my meat because I don't like if you see me cook, you see I don't just dump water on my stuff. So I like to just be able to put it out of the jar like I did and put it in my skillet, which I keep my skillet seasoned so it may have leftover ghee remnants and stuff like that. So I don't want to do the water. Oh baby, how can I make this bigger? I cannot see. Um ho- wait. Oh, hello everyone, you're saying. Ah, salut, bienvenue chez moi. So yeah, that's why I do the cold pack method because I don't want to dump water. And it's really easy. And so both of my jars, like they were sealed. I had to use what you do. I had to use a spoon to pry them open. And that's what you want. You want them sealed, sealed, sealed. So, now one thing that I didn't show in my video, I do wipe my rims with my paper towel and some white vinegar. I do wipe my rims. I mean, because I live in here and everything is tight, I close everything up because anything can spill. So I did close them back up, but off camera, I did reopen them all and wipe all the lids, all the mouths of the jars with white vinegar because apparently, from when you stuff the jars, you don't want anything possibly between the seal, any food particles or anything like that, because that would affect the seal. So I'm learning more and more about canning. I am a city girl, so I didn't, although I'm from a family of scratch cookers, I didn't grow up with my immediate family that did canning. Mm-mm. So I'm learning. My family in the deep south did all that, but that's not where I lived. So, and they have food galore. They didn't have money galore, but they had food galore. When I went down there for the summer, baby, my great aunties would get up in the morning and would make more food for breakfast than I had ever seen. I mean, big, big pans of buttered rice, as many fresh made biscuits as you want, just the whole spread because food was a necessary abundance. They had plenty of food and they had an outhouse. They didn't have any indoor running water. But when I was there, I didn't feel like I was missing or lacking anything. It was the best time. And so, one thing I know, and as we know, especially us natives, well, I think the Native Americans, I don't mean like Native Americans, but those of us born in this country for generations, we act as if we don't know. But we know that our own government is attempting to kill us through the food. Because when you control the food, you control the masses. When you control the seed, you control the masses. So, um, in my previous home, the mansion, I had a little garden. I still have a bunch of seeds. So I had my strawberries didn't yield anything, but I had a cherry tomato plant, cucumber, pepper plant. Yeah, I had a little garden. I'm all about I'm all about thinking for myself and taking care of myself, honestly. So now that I eat for my blood type and I've taken it a step further and just gone full on carnivore, I need to preserve and can meats. So that's what I do. How long does the meat last? If it's canned properly and sealed properly, it can last. It can last. I'm just going to say up to 5 years. But I've seen people have their meats last for a possibly for a long time, but up to 5 years. Because if you think about that time frame, depending on how much you have, if you have a lot, you have a family, and let's say you have a root cellar, or a basement, then you just keep everything in rotation. That's a good amount of time. But as long as the seal is tight, hmm up to 5 years. Yeah. And you just pop the seal and heat it. And you can everything. I saw a woman, I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. She canned butter. She mixed real butter now, not margarine or I can't believe it's not butter. No, real butter. Yep, canned butter. If you eat fruits and vegetables, obviously you can can all that. Think about this. In the grocery store, we don't know how long that can of stewed tomatoes been there. We don't know how long that can of green beans been there. We don't know how long that them cans of pears been there. But we don't question it because it's in the grocery store, right? We don't know how long it's been there. Have no clue at all how long it's been there. But we buy it and then we keep it, right? We stockpile it and keep it for a year. We feed it to our children and don't even question it. We feed it to ourselves, our husbands, our wives, our neighbors' kids. Don't even question it. You don't know how long that's been there. Have no clue. You don't know the process, how it was made. You don't know if it was made in a factory full of stuff that you're allergic to. You have no idea. But we don't question it. Not at all. Yep. And my mother taught me to think for myself and question everything, including her. God forbid it's recalled. You hear me. You hear me. And you know it's going to be recalled at some point. So I go out of my way. I say this a lot on my Instagram. I go out of my way to get, and I go out of my way to get good food. Mm, I go out of my way and I don't mind. I'll drive 30 miles, 26 miles in a direction that I don't normally go because that's where the farm that I go to is at. And I know that they don't use any type of sides, CIDES. They don't use anything. They used to be my clients actually, and they are natural, um, and they're just a regenerative farm. They don't use any nonsense. And then they grow outside of just the three categories that the US are shoving down our throat: wheat, corn, and soy. They grow heirloom. They grow heirloom fruits and vegetables there. I bought some lemon cucumber seeds from this woman online, Mary's Heirloom Seeds. So I bought some lemon cucumber seeds and some, the name of it is Japanese black trifle tomatoes. I still have those seeds. And it says Japanese, but it's a Russian. The origin is Russia. These tomatoes come from Russia. So I bought the lemon cucumber seeds. I went to the farm. It's called the Ecology Center. And they had some lemon cucumbers. So, of course, I had to buy some. They were delicious. This was about 2 years ago. I, uh-oh. I tell my kids the same. Just because someone grown doesn't mean they right. Question everything. That is a fact. I learned, pause right quick. I learned in my 20s, I'm a Gen Xer, right? So I grew up hearing the saying, I ain't get to be this old by being a fool. That's a lie. That is a lie that fools tell. Because when I was in my early 20s, I met a 45-year-old fool. We worked together at Mystic Lake Casino. And I was just like, I remember saying to myself, that saying is a goddamn lie because he got to be 45 by being a whole fool. Everything he said was the most foolish thing I'd ever heard. I'd ever heard with those ears of mine. And I knew then. I knew then. And then I went right in my head to the saying, God looks after babies and fools because this damn fool right here, yeah, this man is foolish. 45. You a whole fool, sir. Sir, with all due respect, monsieur, you are a whole fool. So yeah, you told your kids right. Because the fools say some foolish things. And I don't argue with anybody. I don't argue, period. We can end that right there. I don't argue. And the thing about it is, if I'm arguing with a fool, somebody looking on have no clue who the fuck the fool is. Have no clue. So to save myself from being mistaken as being a fool, I don't argue with anybody, much less fools. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Your mother was. I make her sound very great because that's really all there is to focus on. Why focus on anything else? It's smoke and mirrors. It's smoke and mirrors. But I pull out what benefited me. And it all benefited me. It all benefited me just because of my perspective, even the very negative aspects. As a youngster, I was like, you know what? I would never do that. I don't like how it feels. I don't like that it's done to me. I would never do that. So, yeah, I it's my perspective, definitely. Nobody liked my mom. None of my friends. My mom was mean as hell. Nobody liked my mom. But I chose to fertilize her egg because I knew what I needed to proceed in the flesh in this world. That's why I chose her. And yeah, my mother is brilliant. She's brilliant. But trust me, it's my perspective. How do you develop a relationship with a farmer? You go there, you go there. So, how I started years ago in Minnesota, going to farmers markets, and I'm extremely observant. So, because I know what farmed food should look like and farmed vegetables, right? It should be dirty. It shouldn't be perfect. It should be very imperfect. It should be dirty because they're getting there 4 day in the morning to the farmers market, right? I'm kind of giving you a backstory of how I started. So when I would go to the farmers market, I would look for the booths that look most like farmers. This looks like he's a farmer and not some commercial, something that's just in it for the money. So I would start there, paid attention to what the food looks like because it's going to be imperfect. These things are going through the ground. You know what I mean? Like they have their own resilience that they have to grow through. So they're going to be imperfect. And the taste, you can definitely tell by the taste and the look of it because the skin is going to be thicker. The things are going to be heavier because they're packed with nutrients. And so then once you start maybe sourcing, doing research to find local family farms. And when I say local, they may not be around the corner. Like I said, you may have to drive 30 miles. My ex husband used to drive 2 hours away. My ex husband is African. So he was accustomed to a totally different lifestyle and a totally different type of food. So when he found, and they all would do it, they would go and buy whole lambs, because different events, you buy a whole fresh lamb. And they found a dairy farmer. And so they would, I think it was out in Shakopee, they would drive out there to get fresh, fresh cow's milk, you know, fresh from the cow, where he knew how to pasteurize it at home. You know what I mean? Shit like that. So um, once you start to discover family farms in your state and you realize from talking to them that they're regenerative, they don't use any chemicals, um, they feed their family from what they grow, and then it's such a surplus. Of course they have plenty to sell, and that's what they do. You just kind of go from there. Any state I live in, I'm going to find farmers markets, and then from there I'm going to hand pick the ones that are the best. Anywhere I live, I'm going to find that because that's my standard. Hmm. Hello, welcome. That's my standard. And see, I stopped drinking cow's milk when I was 10 years of age. That's when I stopped drinking cow's milk. I just I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So when I was married, of course, I did try that fresh cow's milk. It does not taste anything like the milk in the store. Nothing. Nothing. Now, I wouldn't continue to drink it because adult animals don't drink milk. Like, can you imagine? Dig, if you will, this picture. An adult cow, a whole bull suckling up against a nursing female cow. Can you imagine? An adult, a big Clydesdale horse suckling. You just, adult animals don't drink milk. So why do adult humans need milk? And this was my mindset at 10. Like, I don't, and then I'm drinking, like, animals don't drink human breast milk. Why am I drinking their milk? They don't drink my milk. So God knows best. God knows best. Um, I don't need animal milk or any milk for that matter. That's why at some point the woman stops lactating because her human child no longer needs that. It's gonna get its nutrients from chewing the food that we're supposed to be eating. So, but I had to try it, and my ex-husband persuaded me, but it tastes nothing like the milk in the grocery stores. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing like it. Nothing like it. It's not even the same thing. I swear it's not the same. Mm-mm. And it's the same with chicken. If you've ever had a actual real chicken, Because you can't bite a chicken bone. Real chickens, only this American chicken can you bite the chicken bone. My black people, y'all know what I'm talking about. But natural, real pasture raised chicken, you cannot bite that bone, baby. And they still have dark meat. And they're just chicken size. And the eggs, they're dark like these here. The yolk is dark. The whites of the egg is thicker. It's richer. It's not even the same. Like we are completely being sold chemicals. And most of these chemicals are banned in many, many countries around the world. Ain't that something? Even when I buy when I do get my fish, I make sure it says wild caught. Because if you look, it'll say cut like on the salmon, it'll say color added. Why? Why? But if it doesn't say wild caught on the package, I don't buy it. Mm-mm. Gotcha. I need it. Oh, how can I gotta make this bigger. I gotta figure out how to make that bigger. I need to hit up a farmer's market then. Yes, definitely. Hey, Raylene, welcome. Dynamic Divine Readings. Love that. Get that gristle. Yeah. You definitely, that's about all you gonna get. About to get an incubator now. I got an egg lady. That's what's up. That's what's up. The next thing I'm gonna do, I've been looking into it, is salt preserving egg yolks. I heard that's so good. So you just take the egg yolk, separate it from the white, and you just preserve it in salt, tons of salt, and then it hardens, and you can grate it. Uh, yeah, all kind of check it out, look into it. But I'm definitely going to be doing that. I just want to be surrounded by food, to whereas I don't have to go to the stores as often. I found myself a nice butcher, great quality meats. Um, Learning more and more about how to can and water bath all my foods, because I don't think I want to buy a pressure cooker. Yeah. I don't think I want. It's just it'll be something else for me to store, and I feel like I got everything I need. I got a wok, I got my cast iron skillet, I got a little pot, and then I got my big pot that I just got to do my water bath canning. I don't need more than that. So I'm pretty sure, um, I'm definite on the fact that I won't be getting a pressure cooker. And here's my thing too. Before the USDA was created, before pressure cookers were created, our ancestors did this the same way I'm doing it, which is where I got it from. You know, they use their own common sense, their own knowledge, their own skill, and they have food preserved for years, years, and we're in better physical condition. We're in better health condition than we are today. How dare we question them? And then when people come ask me about the USDA, baby, don't curse at me. I'm not cursing at you. I ain't said nothing about the USDA. Don't talk to me about these crooked folks. The same USDA that's putting all this chemicals and food coloring, and don't come talking to me about these folks. Okay? I respect you. Respect me. Don't mention the USDA. Because we know it's not right. Like seriously, what kind of government is deliberately killing their own people through the food. We already live in a place where all you have to do is make so much money, and now you are a decision maker for people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Why the hell is Bill Gates doing anything with food? Well, because he's a billionaire. That's why. That's why. So if he say we need to depopulate, then just like my mother told me back in 2013, 2011, uh, baby, they killing folks because Bill Gates say we need to depopulate. So how are we gonna depopulate? However they can. And the most effective way is through the food. Because we all gotta eat. So like when I was growing up, I recall I recall how things used to taste versus how they taste now. I recall when fruits had seeds. I remember when my mom stopped buying grapes because it was harder and harder to find seeded grapes. You know what I mean? And they always have some bullshit reason. Oh, well, parents, they're toddlers. Baby, don't nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear that. These things should have seeds. And if they don't, I'm not eating them. So, and then you say, okay, well, we can do this with soy. We can do all this with corn. We can do all this with wheat. So then we're just going to use those as the foundations for everything that we serve these people. Put the chemicals in it, take out the food. They're going to get fatter, sicker. And then we partner with the pharmaceutical company. They're going to get broker. We make sure everything goes up except for their income. Their salary's not going to go up, but the cost of living is going to go up. The medication is going to go up. Everything's going to go up. The size of their clothes is going to get bigger, and we're going to tax that too. Okay. So, you know, there's a bunch of ways to get to 10, but they only got people thinking, well, 5 plus 5 is 10. Well, 2 plus 2 is 4. Yeah. So it's 3 plus 1. Uh-huh. So it's 5 minus 3 is fucking 2 as well. You got 8 plus 2 is 10. 9 plus 1 is 10. 7 plus 3 is 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. Like there's so many ways. There's so many ways. You know what I'm saying? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. I know better. I know better. So since I know better, I do better. And I've always known better. Thought the hood and water through the food and water. Yep. One company quietly bought all the seeds in the 90s. And do you know, I was watching back in 2014, I got heavy into weightlifting. And so I really started researching nutrition. So I was watching a lot of documentaries on Netflix. And that big company, Monsanto, do you know that they had taken a couple just small farmers, just single man farmers to court, was suing farmers for collecting their own seeds? Crazy. While they distract her with that's the thing. We gotta learn to focus. We gotta learn to focus inward. Because if you focusing on yourself and what benefit you, you can't be distracted. Because you already like whatever they doing has no effect on me because I'm in this world. I'm not of this world. I'm not a part of whatever they talking about. You know what I mean? I do my own thing. I'm not a part of what they talking about. Like when I was younger, being black, they used to say it was this saying. It started before me. If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. And I used to say, well, that don't work for me because I'm a reader. I was an avid reader as a kid. I've always been an avid reader. I always had books. It wasn't the family set. Mine in my bedroom. My mom got me the full Encyclopedia Britannica. I always had books. I was a reader. So I used to say that's not gonna work on me because I'm reading the books. So maybe if you want to hide things from, whatever other type of black people, but you're not gonna hide it from me because that's where I'm going, to the books. I'm reading all the books. I have a brand, and the slogan for that brand is there is no box, think freely. And I'll tell you how I came up with that slogan. Why? As a teenager, 13, 14 years old, think outside the box, think outside the box. I'm extremely visual. So I remember standing out on the block on Clinton Avenue in Minneapolis. And in my head, I visualized a box. And then I visualized myself trying to think outside of it. And I'm like, that's just too much work. That's too much work to try and think outside of the box. There is no box. Just think freely. Just think freely. There is no box. Because now I have to create a box and then think outside of that box. That's too many steps when I could just think. I could just not suppress my thoughts. I could just not care about being called whatever I'm called because my imagination runs wild. That's what it's for. So I could just think. So, yeah, baby, what they do, they're not going to have me distracted because I'm a thinker and I'm a reader. So, because I think freely, and my mom was a conspiracy theorist, I see through the nonsense and I just think for myself. Because you can't tell me that if I buy food, meat, fruits, and vegetables, or if I grow it myself and I know what I'm putting into the soil, if I learn about soil and soil life and soil health and learn the fact that the soil is what feeds the seeds. So I need to make sure my soil is healthy. You can't tell me anything that's going to contradict that and I'm going to believe it. You can't tell me, oh well, you need to put this in the soil to blah 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 blah. No, that's rubbish because that's going to go into the food that I'm eating. And this chemical should not be in my body. You know what I'm saying? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I knew, I knew this isn't about politics. This is just, how my mind works, right? So I knew because Clinton was the first president where I turned 18, where you're allowed to vote, which, to each their own now. But I was peeping everything that was happening that led up to his presidency, right? So then when he gets in, and then I'm there, right? I'm 18. I was a stoner. I knew a lot of the growers and all the growers that my kids' dad and I knew in Minnesota. They were all the white boys that lived out in the suburbs. So I saw the different dynamics, right? And then here he comes with the three-strike rule. So then I started seeing a lot of the homeboys with a dime bag of weed getting pulled over because the cops were just they were outlaws. So now you getting a book thrown at you for a dime bag of weed. But because we're supposed to believe that, oh, Democrat, 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 but to me it looked like a two-headed snake. Like, how is this one country, one government, and y'all against each other? But the middle child, that redhead child, the independent party, the Green Party, just doesn't get mentioned at all. Like we adopted them. We don't even mention that kid. That's a distraction from the fact that we were taught in school the way it all works. We were taught that the public does not choose the president. We were taught that. We were taught that the electoral college chooses the president, going back to when they first created the system. It was never created to where the public choose the president of the United States. The United States. The president is even just, I'll go as far as to say, a puppet. That's just the showman. The president don't even have the final say. The president has to go through the House and the Senate. The House and the Senate is where the people have say. The local elections are where the people have say. The people need to know who the councilman is and who the mayor is, because that's who chooses the Supreme Court. And we need to know who the mayor is going to select to be the Supreme Court justice. You know, this is where the people, we the people, our vote count. But they have us so distracted by the presidential election, which it was never written that the public choose the president. It was never written. And to this day, the public does not choose the president. The electoral college chooses the president. We were taught this in school. We were taught this in school. But you see how they put the spotlight so brightly on the president that they put him on this stage, that now that's what has our attention. So, you know, we think, oh, we gotta vote for the president. No, you need to be voting every 2 years. You need to be voting in your local. You need to know who the local people are, because those are the ones that make the decisions that affect your day-to-day life, that affect why your black son got 15 years for a dime bag of weed. But you know, when you got people struggling to create a box just to think outside of it, you put so much effort into creating this box to think outside of. By the time it comes down to thinking outside of the box, you just tired of thinking. You're just fucking tired of thinking. You like, goddamn, I need a break from thinking. I done created this box. Is it a 3D box? Should it be a flat box? Like, what kind of box? Do I have rounded edges on the box? Is there sharp corners on the box? What do you mean? Think outside the box. I say there is no box. Think freely. Think freely. Plain and simple. We're the only species that can control our own mind and our own thoughts. And so if you don't, somebody else will. Would you ever live in France? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Thank you for the earring compliment. No. But I do like French. I'm learning the language. But they colonized some African countries that I like. So, no, I would never live in France. I never even had a desire to visit. Mm-mm. I'm an African girl. I'm an African lady. That's where God willing my last days will be, on the African continent. Definitely not Europe. I mean, I'm close enough. I'm in the United States. I'm close enough. But I do love the language. I think it is a beautiful language. I call the president a front man. It's exactly what he is, you know. So we just need to realize that way before many of us even been born, you know, they've been killing the people, and we just have to. I've been telling people for years, read your Bill of Rights, because the Bill of Rights is exactly aligned with God's laws. Laws, which are the 10 commandments, God's laws, are the same as the Bill of Rights, because no man can infringe on your human rights. Everything else, these are just statutes, and you know, but that's a rabbit hole. Again, I'm a reader. I'm a reader, so baby, rabbit holes are where I've spent my life. But I encourage everybody to read your Bill of Rights, and you'd be surprised. And you may have to get, a legalese dictionary, or just Google or YouTube legalese, because legalese is a language. Because the Bill of Rights is written in such a way that it would easily discourage non-readers, you know, but just by the name, Bill of Rights. Okay, so this is letting me know my rights in the flesh, living under the rule of Caesar in this country. Okay, that's important. I need to know that. I'm why would I choose to read Jerome Dickey instead? Because he black? Nah, nah, it shit can't benefit me. I'd rather read the Bill of Rights. That's what I'm gonna read several times over again. I can't tell you about Jerome Dickey. I think that's his name, the black author. But I've been encouraging people for years to read the Bill of Rights, and they'd be surprised. Mm-hmm. You'd be surprised at all the money that you're giving away that's being siphoned out of you. You'd be surprised that you legally don't have to pay. That you legally are legally not obligated until or unless you unknowingly fall for the okey doke. You'd be surprised. Hmm. Because your human rights and freedom was given to you by God naturally. Hmm. Very interesting. Very interesting. So, somebody just commented. I commented on someone, a woman, the woman who I saw canning butter. And so that day was my first time, and she's a black lady too. And that day was my first time hot water bathing. So I commented on her post like, it was my first time. I'm so proud of myself. And somebody commented to me. I didn't even reply because it wasn't worth me acknowledging. Um, did you mean pressure canning? Because you're not supposed to hot water can meat. I just said, baby, don't talk to me. I didn't reply. I didn't reply to the comment at all. I still didn't reply. But somebody else replied and said, as long as you boil it for 3 hours, you're okay. But I'm not gonna reply because she's listening to what the crooked government is telling her. Well, at the same time, knowing that they're trying to kill her. Why would I listen to you? Why would I listen to you? You know what I'm saying? You eat red dye number 47. You eat blue dye number 9. Like, why would I listen to you? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't listen to the FDA, the USDA, none of them, because just about everything that's in the stores in this country are banned in other countries and on other continents. Banned. U.S. candy in Europe, the candy from the U.S. that is sold in our stores with the open label, in Europe, they put a warning sign over the ingredients. They put a warning sign over the American candy ingredients saying these are full of chemicals. None of this is good to be consumed. Eat it at your own risk. You have to peel that label off to even get to the ingredients. But you don't need to because they're telling you it's full of chemicals. In Europe, or where is it? In Japan, in some Asian country, Japan or China, the meat have y'all seen this reel or these stories? The meat, if it's going bad, the barcode fades away to where it can't even be scanned. You can't even buy it. Once the meat starts to go bad from the morning to before it gets purchased, the barcode starts to disappear. Why would I concern myself with what the USDA are saying is healthy? SAD. Do you know what that you know what it spells? You know SAD spells sad. Do you know what it stands for? The Standard American Diet. Why would they call it that? Everything that is listed in the Standard American Diet, it spikes your blood sugar right after you eat it, and this is what they advise to eat for breakfast and to feed our kids. It's not absorbed by the body. It puts on weight. Everything in the Standard American Diet is why America has the fattest population. And this is a fact. This isn't me talking smack. Americans are the fattest in the world. We have the fattest people. And we've only gotten bigger from when I was a kid. When I was a teenager, like you see how we look back in the 90s at our age, teenagers, young adults. You look at the teenagers and the young women now. They're 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 not us. They're not us. Kids, little kids now, overweight, obese, wake up in the morning eating oatmeal, zoom zooms, wham whams, and all the things that we are, right? That's the standard American diet. But we're not wearing glucose monitors, right? So we don't get to see until some adult starts doing the work. We don't get to see that, oh, after you eat that oatmeal, your blood sugar is through the roof. Oh, after you eat all these carbs, your blood sugar is through the roof. You got what I used to call carb bloat. You eat all these carbs, now your stomach is sticking out, for the next 18, 27 hours. That's crazy. But this is the standard American diet. Why would I listen to them? Why would I listen to them? So I know the old schoolers, who only had an eighth grade education because after that you had to work. Because even in America, indoctrinated schooling wasn't always a thing. We were taught by our own parents. We weren't shipped off somewhere. We know that that whole system was created to indoctrinate dummies and workers and people who don't think. We know that. We know that. But by this time, they got us so hooked that thinking for ourselves, figuring out how to create our own income, figuring out how to lower our expenses enough to where we can create an income and then learn to build that income before we increase our expenses. They have us so addicted now to where we can't. We can't. We like the struggle bus now. We're accustomed to it. That's crazy. I would never listen to them. It's so important to eat healthy, to avoid processed food. Um, you know, I discovered that's a myth. I discovered that's a myth. Eating healthy is not costly. Here's why I say that. Because for one, well, let me rephrase. Because eating real whole foods and eating healthy, I think, are different. Now, eating real whole foods that are nutrient dense is not costly. Because for one, if you eat a real a real tomato or apple or banana. I mean, real, grown naturally in healthy soil and from heirloom seeds, open pollinated seeds, non GMO. The first bite, you're going to taste the difference. Even a grape, the skin is going to be thicker because it has to hold in so much nutrients. And you're going to actually be getting the nutrients that's in that thing. So that means you're going to get fuller quicker and stay fuller longer. So you're not going to be eating as often, which means you're not going to be eating as much because now you're not undernourished. You're actually giving your body nourishment now because it's not eating a look-alike. It's not eating a clone that doesn't even taste like anything. The first time I showed, this was in my previous home, the mansion, not too far from here, as a house, they have some bananas. They don't look anything like the bananas in the store. And the skin is so thick. And so one of them, when I was done, it dropped on the floor in the mansion. And somebody, I think I was on live or it might have been on my story. Anyway, somebody commented, was like, dang, that's a crazy sounding banana. But it was such a thick thud when the banana peel dropped. And the banana peel itself was thick. Like one side of it was thick. It was a deep, deep orange. And each bite was a bite, baby. You was chewing. You couldn't just mash it between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. You had to chew that banana. You know what I mean? So eating real whole foods is definitely the most cost effective. Um, the one thing I'll say, you have to learn how to buy it because it is real. It's not going to last forever. You're not going to be able to have these whole real foods on your cabinet, on your counter, on your table, in the refrigerator forever. Because keep in mind how we bought, like the original hunter gatherers, we didn't have refrigeration. We weren't storing raw food. You got berries, you ate them. You had a kill, you ate that animal, and then you learned how to store it, in the ground, somewhere where it's going to be cold and preserved. You learn preservation methods. When it comes to fresh whole foods, berries, vegetables, you know, uh, they have to be eaten right then. They're not for storing because we didn't think in lack. We know that everything is abundant. So we didn't feel like, oh, I need to stockpile all these fruits and vegetables because I may not have them. Well, for one, those need to be for the cows that we're supposed to consume, the lamb, the sheep, you know, all the animals that God said we're meant to eat, they're all herbivores. Have you thought about that? Cows are herbivores. We're not supposed to eat pigs. That's written in scripture. We're not supposed to eat pigs. We're not supposed to touch anything from that animal. You know what I mean? We're not supposed to eat the bottom feeders of the ocean. Everything in the dietary laws that we are allowed to eat, they eat other things that we are allowed to eat. Or like the big animals, they're herbivores. Bison to herbivore. Bisons don't eat meat. So eating healthy, I agree with you. It is expensive because it's business. It's business. Eating healthy is business. And there's a lot of chemicals in those healthy foods. If you just eat a whole single ingredient food, you know, you don't have to, it's not, you just have to know where to shop. You know what I mean? If you can eat wild rice, why just go to the grocery store and buy something that says wild rice? Why not really source to get actual wild rice? There's a market right up here. They sell wild rice. There's another company. Let me see. Although I don't eat wild rice anymore, I think I still have a piece of it. Anyway, it's this company. It's a family company here in California. They have some wild rice. The ingredient, every grain in there is a wild rice, whereas Sprouts also has a brand of wild rice. Do you know what some of their wild rice is mixed with? Jasmine rice. In their wild rice, the Sprouts brand, it's jasmine rice, some wild rice, some other type of rice. Whereas this family wild rice, it's all different types of wild rice. That's it, just wild rice, you know? So instead of just buying prune juice with even two, three, or four ingredients, just buy prunes or go out of your way to find a prune juice that's just prunes and water. That's it. You know what I mean? Just eat the beets. That's it. Just eat the beets. Just go out of your way to find good, natural, real carrots. Like the farm I go to, they have the Kyoto red carrots. They have a variety of carrots with the carrot tops. You know how much nutrients are in the carrot greens? How come those aren't sold widely in the grocery stores? Like, why don't they have carrot greens in the grocery stores? Because that's where the bulk of the nutrients of from the carrot is in the greens. Nope, you're not gonna get that. You're gonna get the same type of carrot. How come in the US our grocery stores aren't loaded seasonally? Like right now, tomatoes are not in season. It's February. Tomatoes are not in season. But you can get tomatoes everywhere and they all look alike. Why? Why? And then the skin on the tomatoes are so thin. Tomatoes are not in season right now. Why are tomatoes in abundance right now? You know? In the US, everything is available year round. We don't eat seasonally. We don't know what's in season. Strawberries aren't in season right now. Blackberries aren't in season right now. And if you've ever seen any grown wild, then you know that. You know they're not in season right now. You know? Eating seasonally can reduce a lot of allergies. It's winter. Your heavy greens, your meats, they turn people against meat. I think people should look into eating for their blood type. I'm an O blood type, very heavy carnivore, very, very heavy meat eater. Blood types A, B, and AB, they can't eat the same thing that I eat. Just like strawberries are not good for me, blackberries are not good for my blood type. Um, Soy and tofu are not good for my blood type. Black pepper is not good for my blood type. All these things I've completely eliminated. I completely got them out of Le Chateau. I don't have any black pepper. I don't use it. Um, Avocados, avocado oil, they're not good for my blood type. Coconut oil, coconuts, not good for my blood type. Vinegar, that's why I got rid of my whole apothecary. Blood type O has the highest level of stomach acid, the highest amount of stomach acid, which is why we can consume so much red meat. I don't need I don't need anything else to add to my um, acid levels in my stomach. So vinegar is a no for me. hmm This is such a what a bullshit. All those things are really good for you. Not everybody. I don't think they're good for everybody. especially when you know. So like black pepper, black and white pepper, it decreases my microbiome diversity. That's not good. That's not good for my gut. Blackberries are not good. I love blackberry, and these are things that I love. I was harvesting wild blackberries from up the street. But if there are things that add to the acidity levels of my stomach lining, that's not good for me. It may be good for an AB blood type. It may be good for an A blood type or a B blood type, but it's not good for an O blood type, both positive and negative. It's not good for an O blood type, you know? So, and the reason I decided to make the changes is because, again, I'm extremely observant. So I observed, like, I'm healthy. Everything feels great. I first changed my eating habits at 20 years of age because I said I don't want to look like my aunties at 40 and I don't want to have any health issues at 40. So at 20, when I was fit, fine, athletic, baby, I changed my eating lifestyle at 20 years of age. So for me, it's nothing to do what's beneficial for me. So I noticed the difference just in my mindset from 29 to 30. It's like, wow. I noticed the difference in my mindset and some physical changes from 39 to 40. I'm about to be 50, and that's when they say menopause happens. I'm expecting some big changes in my body. Since I feel great right now, I never took the attitude when it comes to my body of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I never took that attitude, which is why I changed my diet at 20. I stopped drinking soda at 20. I stopped eating pork at 20. I stopped eating soul food at 20 because not when it comes to my body, you know. So I'm expecting some changes at 50. So finding out foods that decrease my microbiome diversity, okay, let me cut them out of my diet now. If you're telling me that my blood type should not be eating these things, all beans, except for black beans and great northern beans, those are the only two beans that benefit my blood type. Lentils, I love lentils. Like I just made some lentils a couple months ago. All these things I completely got rid of. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with them, but everything um isn't for everybody. Not everybody can handle as much red meat as O blood types can. And it makes sense to me why I've always craved red meat. Like I be craving it. Even in my 20s. I would crave red meat. Mhm. Makes sense to me. And it's like when my kids were young, because I was a young mom, I guess they thought I was stupid. But I didn't let them tell me that my children were too big for their height and weight. My son right now is 6'4". My daughter right now is 5'10". So you think at 2 and 3 they weren't supposed to be taller than everybody else? They were 5 pounds when they were born. They were tiny, but they had to get to where they are now. So they grew very quickly. And I didn't allow them doctors to tell me that they were too tall for their age. What, just look around the world. We're not all the same height and weight and size. Like that just did not make sense to me. That didn't make sense to me. And I completely ignored all of that. I ignored all of that because it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me. Everyone is a different height, size, weight. I'm only 5'6", but I have very long arms and legs. So I grew up being head and shoulders over most of my classmates and age mates. But I'm only 5'6". I'm not tall. I look much taller than I am because I have long arms and long legs, and I don't have a long torso. So, yeah, me growing up, I was head and shoulders over all of my class. But baby, I gave birth to a 5 pound, 12 ounce, 5 pound, 14 ounce, 6'4" and 5'10" human being. When were they gonna get to these heights if it wasn't gonna be throughout their whole life? You know what I mean? So yeah, I it doesn't hurt to look into your blood type and what is beneficial, because it's really about your gut health. The whole blood type eating is about what your gut and your internal system benefits the most from. Did you crochet? I did crochet this. OMG, there's a spider on your wall. Is it? That's what's up. You see all my plants? Oh, my spider. That was good. That was good. There is. There is. There is. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Bro, Kiki is a furious. She yelling. What? My family has a history of heart conditions. I'm trying to cancel that. I know that's right. Good for you. Good for you. Yep. It's definitely what we eat and our lack of movement. I was athletic my whole life, so just move the body and eat clean, whole ingredient foods. And it doesn't hurt to, look into your blood type and see what it says you should be eating for your blood type. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. We got some furries in the comments. Everywhere I go, I bring out the kinksters, huh? The kinksters and the stoners. Y'all know y'all people, don't you? You know your people, don't you? That's what's up. Uh, yeah, I'm not into the furries, but that's not my conversation. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and my vital years, I was brought up in St. Louis, Missouri. And then my mom moved me to Minneapolis, Minnesota. But I'm from St. Louis. I'm from the Show Me State, but the earth is my turf. I'm nothing like anybody anywhere. I'm me. I'm really just like me. Happy van life to you. Thank you. And it is. I do listen to reggae. I do. I use a lot of the reggae tones on my music from YouTube. I do listen to reggae. I've always liked reggae. You are funny. I think so too. If you're talking to me, I think so too. I think I'm hilarious. I think I'm hilarious for real. Yeah, I do crochet. I do crochet. You know what? So I had a. Let me show you while I'm on here. I had. I don't want to make a mess though, and I got food. But let me show you this. I had a earn your leisure. Who's familiar with earn your leisure? Put a one in the comments if you know earn your leisure. If you're familiar with earn your leisure, I want to see who's familiar with them. So I had a couple of earn your leisure T-shirts. I had on one just the other day, a burgundy one. And so put a one in the comments if you're familiar with earn your leisure. I'm gonna see who we got in here. I see one. All right, so just you two. I see two. Okay, so I had. Oh. Take your time, man. Take your time. All right, we got some earners in the house. So I had the burgundy one, and I also had a green one, and I decided that I would get much more use out of it if I deconstruct it and crochet my own little varsity bomber jacket. So that's what I did. So I put the EYL University patch right there, and I put the assets over liabilities on the back. Because on the t-shirt, this is the front of the t-shirt, and this is on the back at the neck. So yeah, and this is 100% wool. I only use natural fibers when I natural yarns. I don't use acrylic. I only use cotton or wool. These buttons were on a U.S. Army fatigue jacket that someone gifted me. So ain't this dope? I didn't want a hood, so I didn't put a hood. And then I made so these here, and this is my handmade patch. So these here, they're just decorative when it's on, and then my cell phone goes in there. Um, but if you're wearing it and it gets too warm, you can just, you know, wear it on your back. I would tuck the sleeves in, and make it neat. I'm just putting it on just to show you the idea of what I did. So yeah, you would do it like that. Like I said, once you do it properly, it's a proper fit. Can somebody acknowledge me for once? What's up? You've been acknowledged. Is I don't know who talking to who. Love your style. Thank you. Beautiful work, girl. I'm learning from you. That's what's up. Thank you. Yeah, so this is my Earn Your Leisure varsity bomber jacket, and it's cropped. It is cropped. Um I didn't want it long, and so I love it. I love it. I love it. It came out exactly how I wanted it. So at the pockets here, I did little side panel patches, just to make it look more decorative, more interesting. Just to make it look more interesting and give it more details and dimension. And so this is the right sleeve, and this is the left sleeve. You see how I added this here? And so my cell phone goes there because my pockets are just for my hands. My pockets I didn't make to put anything in, but I was like, I need somewhere to put my phone. So phone goes down in there. Bam. Problem solving. So nice. Thank you. Can I get a shout out? You've been shouted out. You have been shouted out. So, yeah, this is that. I have another jacket that I made that has a matching bag. Um, it is for sale, but I don't have it listed for sale, but it is for sale. Um, I don't know. I love it so much. It's not for me. I just, you know, my crochet work is expensive, so I don't often sell it. I've sold things, I've made some custom pieces, which I don't like to do and I don't do anymore. But I have this jacket that is so dope. It's so dope. And I only do one of one pieces. I do original one of one. I freehand everything. I don't do a pattern. Everything I make is freehand. This was totally freehand. Just from here to here to here. Um yeah. So I can't show you guys the other jacket though cuz it's in my storage bench. But yeah, this is that. I do want to sell it though. I do want to sell it. Not that one, but the one that I made. I want to sell it. I just don't know if I will ever be able to. I wish I could show it to you guys. And I've also thought about maybe doing an auction on Instagram. I had thought about that. Doing a live auction to sell it that way. But it's pretty dope. It's really really dope. Everybody been shouted out, everybody feel good, everybody been acknowledged. So, yeah. What's your favorite song? Um Anything by Prince. I'll say Act of God by Prince. Oh, I like your earrings. Thank you. Yeah, any any Prince song is my favorite song cuz that's my favorite person. So, pick one. Pick one and that'll be my favorite. But Act of God, I like that. You look so pretty. Thank you. No, I didn't make these. Nine lives. Got a question. All right, what's your question? Nope, I didn't make these. I bought them. I think I got them from this area in downtown LA when I first got here. Hi, Jason. Yeah, I think I got them from I'm excellent. I am excellent. Well, I made my top and then I just got on some blue sweatpants. I did go thrifting the other day though. I went thrifting the other day and OMG, I scored. I scored. Your walls are gay or gray? I don't know. It's all gay. We stay happy in here, baby. This is a very happy place. This is a very happy place, full of abundance. Do you watch Big Mama? No. Favorite NFL team? None. Do you have anything that you made yourself? Yes, I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it. I made this myself. I just showed another jacket that I made. I have another jacket over there that I made. Um, I made this myself. I have a lot of things that I make. That's what I do. I make things. that's that's one of the many things that I do. I'm in your house with a grenade. At least it's purple. No, I don't watch sports. Like a nice person. No, I don't watch anything really. I least of all don't get off on watching people at work. And most times I even use a self checkout because I don't want to just watch people work. You're so pretty. Thank you. Favorite hobby? Probably crocheting or just sitting silent. I love silence. But crocheting would be my favorite hobby. I like to paint too, but we'll just say crochet. Oh, so I just exploded the bomb. Can I get a shout out? You've been shouted out. Do you know how pretty you are? Because you look like an angel. I don't know about that. Hi, Morgan. Can I get a shout out? You've been shouted out. Shut up. Love your positivity. Thank you. You've been shouted out as well. And another shout out. And another shout out. Your walls look very cool. You're talking about my curtains. Yeah, these are my curtains on this side. They're all different. And then back here, this is the front. And then I got this blue one also. So up here is my driver's section. And then this is my ceiling. Yeah. And then more plants. A lot of plants. All the big hanging plants are back here, and then I have several in the front seat. Favorite song? Prince. Someone asked me that. Hi, Madden. Hi, this is really small. I can't see. I got to figure out how to make these bigger. Are you? Oh, you candy? Cause you're so sweet. Oh, that was so corny. I'm corny. That was a compliment. Hi, Samuel. No, I don't have. You know what? Favorite animal? My favorite animals would be wildcats. I like lions. Um, I like uh, I like cheetahs. I like panthers. Any song by Prince is my favorite song. Oh, that's silly. Do you play Gorilla Tag? No, I don't know what that is. I don't play any games though. Do you want more money? I'm very, very wealthy. What's up with all these questions? Where are the real people at? I think all the real people are gone, right? Yeah, I think so. I think all the real people are gone. I don't recognize any of these names. Hello, everybody. Can you say my name? Hey, Bridget. Can I get a shout out? You've been shouted out. Okay, so I think I'm still here. Hey, Raylan. Yeah, cause this is I'm a croissant. Okay, okay. Well, the Q&A. I know I had Q&A. It just, you know, was getting kind of out of hand. I thought, I think we got past all of the relevant Q&A. I'll say it like that. All of the relevant Q&A. I talked about my canning, my carnivore diet, or eating lifestyle rather. I guess I didn't go too much in that. Can I say my age? Of course, if you choose to. If you choose to, why not? Why not? If you're grown. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to get my kitchen all cleaned up. Oh, that's why. I should have known it was gonna be a baby. I should have known it was gonna be a baby. Baby, you shouldn't even be qualified to be on my live. You shouldn't even be qualified to be here, baby. My kids, you don't even qualify to be in a conversation with my children. For real. My kids are 30. He said 18. I remember I was 35, 18-year-old little boy caught himself coming on to me. He was like, I'm 18. I was like, how cute. How cute. That's cute. We need to have some kind of age restrictions on here because, baby, that's crazy. Sounds like you'll be stopping soon. Yes, I'll be stopping right now. No, I can hardly see your first name, Bridget. I definitely can't see your last name. Mm-mm. So anyway, um, thank you for tuning in. That's it. I just wanted to come live, give it a shot, have a little Q&A. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate all the people that just decided to pop on here and see what was going on. That was dope. Y'all have a great Wednesday. Keep your head up and stay out of trouble, you youngsters. Peace. So how do I end this? Right here. Bam.